My phone buzzed at exactly 2:17 a.m. At first, I ignored it. Nobody texts me in the middle of the night unless something is terribly wrong. I rolled over, reached for my phone, and looked at the screen. Unknown number, no profile picture, no contact name, just one message. Thought you should see this. Attached was a video. For a moment I assumed it was spam, maybe some random scam. I almost deleted it without opening it. But something about it felt different. I don't know why. Maybe it was the time. Maybe it was the silence in my apartment. Or maybe some part of me already knew I wasn't going to like what I was about to see. I tapped the video. The screen stayed black for a couple of seconds. Then, the image slowly faded in. The camera was pointed at a bed, a bedroom. It took my brain a second to recognize it. Then my heart stopped. That was my bedroom, my nightstand, my lamp, the blue hoodie I'd thrown over the chair before going to bed. Everything was exactly where I had left it, and lying in the middle of the bed was me. I was asleep, breathing slowly, completely unaware. At first, I tried to convince myself it had to be fake. Maybe someone had edited it, maybe AI, maybe someone had hacked my photos. But then the camera moved, slowly, carefully, like whoever was holding the phone was trying not to make a sound. They walked around my bed. I watched the shadows move across my floor. Every step felt real, too real. The camera stopped beside my pillow. I could hear my own breathing. Then, a whisper. So quiet I almost missed it. Michael. My name. Spoken by someone standing only inches away from my face. The video ended. I stared at the screen. I didn't move. I didn't breathe. I lived alone. Nobody had a key to my apartment. Every door had been locked before I went to sleep. At least, I thought they had. I jumped out of bed and turned on every light in the apartment. Bedroom, bathroom, kitchen, closets, even under the bed. Nothing. No broken windows, no open doors, no footprints. Nothing. The apartment was completely empty, but one question kept repeating in my head. If nobody had been inside, who recorded the video? And then my phone vibrated again. Another message from the same number. Only 3 words. Check your closet. For a few seconds, I just stared at the message. Check your closet. My apartment suddenly felt different. The silence wasn't comforting anymore. It felt like someone was waiting for me to make the next move. I looked toward my bedroom. The closet door was closed, exactly the way I always left it. I grabbed the heaviest thing I could find, a cast iron frying pan. Not exactly a weapon, but it was all I had. Every step down the hallway felt louder than it should have. My heartbeat echoed in my ears. I reached for the closet handle, counted to 3, then yanked it open. Nothing. Just shirts, jackets, shoes. For a moment I actually laughed. I was starting to think I had lost my mind. Then my phone buzzed again. Another message. Top shelf. My smile disappeared instantly. I slowly looked up. There was an old cardboard box I'd never noticed before. I was certain it hadn't been there yesterday. I dragged over a chair and climbed up. The box was surprisingly heavy. Inside, there wasn't money. There wasn't a weapon. There wasn't a camera. There was only one thing. An old digital camcorder. At least 15 years old. Its battery was dead. But taped to the side was a handwritten note. Watch the tape. I turned the camcorder over. There was no memory card. Only a tiny mini DV cassette still inside. Who even used these anymore? Another vibration. Another message. This one was different. No instructions. Just one sentence. Everything started in that apartment. I looked around the room. I'd been living here for almost 3 years. Nothing unusual had ever happened. No strange neighbors. No break-ins. Nothing. So why would someone hide an old camera in my closet? And more importantly, how did they put it there without me noticing? I decided I wasn't staying in the apartment another minute. I grabbed the camcorder and drove across town to my friend Ethan. He worked in video production, If anyone could play an old mini DV tape, it was him. When I showed him the camera, he frowned. "Where did you get this?" "My closet." He laughed. "I'm serious." His expression changed. He disappeared into another room and returned with an old tape deck. A few minutes later, the footage appeared on his monitor. The timestamp read, October 14, 2009, 15 years ago. The camera shook slightly as someone walked through my apartment. But everything looked different. Different furniture, different walls, different people. A little girl ran across the living room laughing. A woman followed behind her. Then, someone pointed the camera toward the hallway, and standing there was a man. He looked directly into the lens, almost as if he knew someone would be watching this video years later. Then he smiled. Not a friendly smile, the kind that makes your stomach tighten. Ethan paused the video. Neither of us said a word. Then he whispered, "Michael." I looked at him. He was staring at the screen. His face had gone completely pale. He pointed at the man. "I know him." Ethan didn't take his eyes off the screen. "I know him," he repeated. I waited. He swallowed hard before speaking again. His name was Daniel Harper. The name meant nothing to me. "Who is he?" Ethan hesitated. "I met him about 10 years ago. He used to work as a private security consultant. He installed surveillance systems, cameras, smart locks, alarm systems." I felt my stomach tighten. "So he could get into people's homes?" Ethan nodded slowly. "If he wanted to, yes." I looked back at the frozen image on the monitor. Daniel was staring directly into the camera. There was something unsettling about his expression. It wasn't anger. It wasn't happiness. It looked like he was expecting me, as if he somehow knew I would watch this recording years later. "Where is he now?" I asked. Ethan didn't answer immediately. Finally, he looked at me. "He's been missing for almost 8 years. Silence filled the room. Missing, not dead, not arrested, just gone. Before I could ask another question, my phone buzzed again. Unknown number. A new message appeared. "Don't trust Ethan." I felt every muscle in my body tense. I slowly lifted my eyes toward him. He was still focused on the paused video. He couldn't have seen the message. At least, I didn't think he had. I slipped the phone back into my pocket. For the first time that night, I wasn't sure who I was afraid of, the person texting me or the friend sitting beside me. Ethan rewound the tape. "There's something else." He played it frame by frame. The little girl ran through the hallway again. The woman laughed. Then the camera accidentally tilted toward a hallway mirror. Ethan stopped the video. "Wait." He zoomed in. The reflection wasn't empty. There was someone standing behind the cameraman. Only part of the figure was visible. A dark jacket, black gloves, their face hidden in shadow. Whoever they weren't supposed to be there. "I don't think Daniel recorded this alone," Ethan whispered. Before I could answer, the lights in his apartment went out. Everything went dark. The computer shut off. The room fell completely silent. Then, 3 slow knocks echoed from Ethan's front door. Knock. 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 Neither of us moved. No one said a word. Another knock. This one louder. Ethan looked at me. I wasn't expecting anyone. My phone lit up once more. Another message. Just 4 words. "Don't open the door." Nobody moved. The knocking came again. Slower this time. Knock. 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 Ethan looked at me. "I'll call the police." Before he could unlock his phone, the knocking stopped. The silence that followed was somehow worse. We waited. 30 seconds. A full minute. Nothing. Finally, Ethan walked toward the window and carefully pulled the curtain aside. The porch was empty. No car, no footsteps, no one walking away. Just rain. Heavy rain. He unlocked the front door and stepped outside. I grabbed his arm. "What are you doing?" "There isn't anyone here." I followed him onto the porch. The street was completely empty. Then I noticed something lying on the welcome mat, a small brown envelope, dry, even though everything around it was soaked by the rain. Someone had placed it there only moments earlier. Ethan slowly picked it up. There was no stamp, no address, only one word written across the front. Michael. My hands started shaking. Inside was a single photograph. It showed me sleeping. Not the same photo from the video. A different night, different clothes, different position. Someone had been inside my apartment, more than once. I turned the photo over. Written on the back was another message. You're finally asking the right questions? My phone vibrated again. Unknown number. This time, it wasn't a text. It was a live location, pinned less than half a mile away. The location had a label. Storage Unit 214. No explanation, no message, just a location. Ethan looked at me. This has to be a trap. I know. So why are you thinking about going? Because whoever was behind this wanted me alive. If they wanted me dead, they had already had countless opportunities. Instead, they wanted me to keep following the clues. That thought scared me even more. An hour later, we pulled into an old self-storage facility on the edge of town. Most of the lights were broken. The office was closed. Rows of metal storage units disappeared into the darkness. Unit 214 was near the back. Its door was already unlocked. Neither of us touched it. For several seconds, we just stood there listening. Nothing. No voices, no footsteps, only the sound of rain hitting the metal roofs. Ethan looked at me. Last chance. We can leave. I took a deep breath, then slowly pulled the metal door upward. The old rollers screamed in the silence. The light from our flashlights revealed a room that was almost empty. One wooden chair, a folding table, several dusty cardboard boxes, and, on the far wall, dozens of photographs, hundreds maybe. Every single one was of me. Different years, different places. At the grocery store, walking my dog, leaving work, having coffee with friends, standing at gas stations, even carrying groceries into this apartment, months before I moved in. Someone had been watching me, long before I ever received that first video. Then Ethan whispered something that made my blood run cold. Michael. I slowly turned toward him. He wasn't looking at the wall anymore. He was staring at the floor. There, covered by a thin layer of dust, were two fresh footprints. They hadn't been there for years. Someone had been inside this storage unit, very recently, and judging by the direction of the prints, they hadn't left. Neither of us said a word. The fresh footprints led deeper into the storage unit. My flashlight followed them across the dusty concrete floor. They stopped, right in front of the back wall. There was nothing there, just old shelves and peeling paint. Ethan frowned. That doesn't make any sense. He pressed his hand against the wall. A hollow sound echoed back. We looked at each other. There has to be another room. We searched for several minutes before Ethan noticed a small metal latch hidden behind one of the shelves. He pulled it. The entire shelf shifted forward just a few inches. Behind it was a narrow steel door. No handle, no lock, only a keypad. Before either of us could react, my phone vibrated. Unknown number. One new message. The code is your birthday. Neither of us spoke. Slowly, I entered the numbers. The keypad beeped once. The lock clicked. The steel door opened by itself. Cold air rushed out. The room beyond was much smaller than I expected, maybe 10 feet wide. No windows, only one old desk, a metal filing cabinet, and dozens of computer monitors mounted on the wall. Every screen was black, except one. The moment I stepped inside, it turned on. My bedroom appeared on the screen. Live. Not a recording. Live. My bed. My nightstand. My apartment. Completely empty. I felt my stomach twist. Someone still had access to cameras inside my home. Then another monitor flickered to life. The hallway outside my apartment. Another. The parking lot. Another. The elevator. Every place I walked every day was already being watched. Ethan whispered. This isn't one camera. It's an entire surveillance network. On the desk sat a thick black notebook. The cover had only one word. Subject. I opened it. The first page contained my full name, date of birth, current address, previous addresses, work history, even the name of my elementary school. Page after page. Someone had documented my life, every trip, every routine, every friend. There were handwritten notes beside many entries. Leaves for work at 7:42 a.m. Usually buys coffee on Wednesdays. Sleeps with bedroom window slightly open during summer. My hands began to shake. This wasn't obsession. This was years of planning. Then I reached the final page. Unlike the others, it wasn't filled with notes. There was only today's date and one sentence, written in fresh black ink. He's here. The lights inside the room went out. Complete darkness, somewhere behind us. We heard a door slam shut. Then, footsteps. Slow, calm, getting closer. Not running, walking, as if whoever was approaching already knew there was nowhere left for us to escape. The footsteps stopped. Complete silence. I couldn't even hear my own breathing. Ethan slowly raised his flashlight. The beam swept across the room. Nothing. Empty walls. Dust. The desk. No one. The footsteps had been real. We had both heard them. Then, every monitor turned on at the same time. Dozens of screens. Dozens of camera angles. My apartment, the parking garage, the grocery store, the coffee shop I visited every Friday, even the gym I had joined 6 months earlier. Someone had been watching every part of my life. One by one, the camera feeds disappeared. Every monitor went black, except one. It displayed a single video file. No title, no date, only one word. Play, I clicked it. The footage began. At first, I didn't understand what I was looking at. A man was sitting in a chair, his face hidden in darkness. He wasn't moving. Then he spoke. If you're watching this, it means I failed. His voice was calm, almost tired. I don't know your name, but I know they've already found you. I looked at Ethan. Neither of us understood. The man continued. They don't choose people at random. They study routines. They build habits. They make sure you'll never notice them. They've been watching you long before you realized anyone was watching. The camera slowly zoomed in. For the first time, his face became visible. It was Daniel Harper, the same man from the old mini-DV tape. Older, exhausted, terrified. I tried to expose them. I thought I could disappear. I was wrong. He leaned closer to the camera. If you're seeing this, never trust the evidence they leave behind. They want you to follow it. They want you to believe you're solving the mystery. But every clue is another step exactly where they need you to go. The screen suddenly filled with static. Daniel looked over his shoulder, as though someone had entered the room behind him. His expression changed instantly. Fear. Real fear. He whispered only 3 words. They're here. The video ended. Silence. Nobody spoke. Then Ethan quietly asked, what if Daniel wasn't stalking you? I looked at him. What do you mean? What if he was trying to warn you? Before I could answer, my phone vibrated again. Unknown number. This time, there wasn't a message. There was a photo, taken only seconds earlier. It showed Ethan and me standing inside the surveillance room. Someone had photographed us from behind. I spun around. The room was empty. Then my phone vibrated one last time. A final message appeared. Turn around. I froze. The message still glowed on my screen. Turn around. For a second, neither Ethan nor I moved. Then, very slowly, I turned. The room behind us was empty. No footsteps, no shadow, no one standing there. Just the rows of silent monitors. I looked back at my phone. Another message had arrived. Wrong direction. A cold chill ran down my spine. Ethan stepped closer. What does it say? I handed him the phone. Before he could finish reading, Every monitor in the room suddenly switched on, not with camera feeds, with the exact same image. A countdown, 0 hours, 4 minutes, 59 seconds. The timer had already started. What the hell is this? Neither of us knew. Then a speaker somewhere in the room crackled to life. A calm male voice filled the silence. If you're hearing this, you've reached the final stage. The voice wasn't threatening. It sounded almost professional. As of this moment, law enforcement has already been notified. You have 5 minutes. If you leave now, you'll never understand why you were chosen. If you stay, you'll finally learn the truth. The room fell silent again. Ethan grabbed my arm. We're leaving. I didn't move. For weeks, someone had invaded my home, watched me sleep, controlled every step I took. I wasn't walking away without answers. The timer reached 3:41. Then one monitor changed. A scanned document appeared. It was a property record, my apartment building. Another file appeared. Old construction plans. Then another. Insurance claims. Missing person reports. Police interviews. Everything connected to the same address. Apartment 4B, my apartment. Over the last 20 years, 6 different tenants had reported the exact same thing. Anonymous videos, strange messages, evidence that someone had entered while they slept. Every investigation ended the same way. No suspect, no arrest, no explanation. Then Ethan noticed something I had missed. Every case file ended with the same sentence. Tenant relocated. Every single person had moved away, except me. I never left. The countdown reached 1:12. Another monitor turned on, a live security camera. My apartment. The front door slowly opened. Someone walked inside. The figure wore a black hoodie, black gloves, their face hidden. They walked directly into my bedroom, sat down on the edge of my bed, and looked straight into the camera. Then, they slowly removed the hood. I felt the blood leave my face. The man on the screen looked exactly like me. Not similar, not close, exactly. Same face, same eyes, same scar above the eyebrow. Even Ethan whispered, "Michael?" I couldn't speak. The man smiled. Then he said only one sentence. "I wondered how long it would take you to find me." The screen went black. The room fell silent. No alarms, no countdown. Just the sound of my own breathing. Every monitor went black. Then one screen lit up again. A single sentence appeared. The truth was never about your apartment. A drawer beneath the desk clicked open. Inside was a thick folder. My name was printed across the front. I opened it. Every page documented my life. School records, college photos, old addresses, medical forms, bank statements, even handwritten notes describing ordinary moments. Usually orders coffee without sugar. Visits his mother's grave every October. Never closes the bedroom curtains completely. Years of observation. Not days, not months, years. At the very back of the folder was a sealed envelope. I opened it. Inside was a contract. The name of the client had been blacked out, but the investigator's name hadn't. Daniel Harper. Beneath it was the objective. Locate hidden financial records believed to be connected to Michael Carter's former business partner. Surveillance authorized. I read it twice, then a third time. Daniel hadn't chosen me. He had been hired. Everything started because someone believed I was hiding evidence. But the next page changed everything. A handwritten note from Daniel. The client lied. Michael has nothing. Stop the operation immediately. Underneath, another handwriting. Different ink, different pen. Only 4 words. Continue, no exceptions. I looked at Ethan. Neither of us spoke. Daniel had tried to stop. Someone else had continued. Someone with more money, more influence, more resources. Then Ethan noticed a small USB drive taped inside the folder. We plugged it into the computer. One final recording appeared. Daniel looked exhausted. His beard had grown out. Dark circles surrounded his eyes. He stared directly into the camera. "If you're watching this, I'm probably dead." I tried to walk away. I told them you were innocent. They didn't care. They weren't looking for money anymore. They wanted control. They wanted fear. They wanted you to believe someone could always reach you. They wanted you to question every sound, every shadow. Every night you tried to sleep. He leaned closer. I started sending you the videos. I know you'll hate me for that, but it was the only way I could make you look. If I had gone to the police, they would have buried everything. If I disappeared, they would have found another target. So I made sure you'd start asking questions. Daniel closed his eyes for a moment. I'm sorry. I truly am. The recording ended. Neither Ethan nor I spoke. For the first time in weeks, everything finally made sense. The videos, the messages, the apartment, the storage unit. None of it had been random. It had all started with one lie. Weeks later, the investigation led to several arrests. The company that had hired Daniel no longer existed. Its executives disappeared. The storage unit was emptied. The surveillance equipment vanished. Officially, the case was closed. I moved to another city, changed my number, changed my routines, bought a different apartment, installed new locks, new cameras. For the first time in months, I finally slept through the night, or at least, I thought I did. Last week, I woke up to another notification. Unknown number, no message, just one new video. My hands were shaking before I even opened it. It was my bedroom, my new bedroom, the one nobody knew about. I was asleep. The camera slowly moved closer. Then, just before the video ended, someone whispered, "Welcome home." The screen went black.